we wake up with fear. What if I lose my job? What if? What if? And unfortunately, when that happens, we don't have a plan B. No matter how brilliant you are, you can't go alone. No matter how brilliant you are, no matter how wealthy you are, you cannot go alone. You know, depression is real. And there is support for depression. There's medication, there's counseling, there's therapy. There's no safe space for men in Canada. I don't know of a place where you can go as a man and say, hey, walk in, grab a cup of coffee, and let's talk to somebody. I don't know a single place apart from Mandela House that had just opened.
Welcome to the MCG Legacy Podcast, where we connect with leaders, change makers, and visionaries shaping the future of our communities. I'm your host, Raisa Afrida, and today we're truly honored to welcome a remarkable guest, Dr. Charles Odame-Ankrah, a visionary leader, scientist, and passionate advocate for African and Black communities, both locally and globally. As the executive director of the Calgary African Community Collective, Dr. Odame-Ankrah leads critical work that drives equity, systematic change, and grassroots empowerment. He's also internationally recognized for his groundbreaking work in environmental science and air quality monitoring. From boardrooms to community halls, and from research labs to advocacy tables, his work bridges science, policy, and social impact. So let's dive into this conversation and hear from someone who's not only making a difference, but helping others to do the same. Thank you so much, Dr. Charles. How are you today?
I'm doing fantastic, and thanks for having me here this morning to talk about the wonderful work happening here.
Thank you so much. We're very, very lucky to have you, especially during Movember.
Yes.
So I'm going to start with my first question, and it has to be something about your journey and community leadership.
Correct.
Because we want to know what inspired you to do the amazing things you're doing.
Wonderful. I wake up every morning thinking about what others before me did for me to enjoy the space that I am in. And what can I do to ensure that continues? So, because everything we see around us was once somebody's idea. So which of your ideas is going to reflect for another person also to enjoy? That's what drives me every day when I wake up.
That's so inspiring.
Yes.
I would love to know more today during our podcast, but I do want to ask the second question.
Yes.
Surrounding with Movember, right? Movember is a time to raise awareness about men's health, and especially mental health, which is often overlooked or stigmatized, especially for men.
Yes.
From your perspective, why is it important to create safe spaces for men to talk about mental health? And I also want to know, how can communities and institutions better support that?
Thank you very much. I think that mental health is something that has become like a buzzword. People see it more as a buzzword, but actually in reality, it's things that are affecting people. And men, as an African man, as myself, I was raised never to cry. I was raised never to show weakness. I was raised never to show publicly that I'm afraid. I was raised to be bold. So these are positive attributes, but there's always a negativity that comes with that we all have our breaking points. And when you get to that breaking point, we were never taught to pause and reflect. So we keep going until we crash. So it's the mentality, it is a culture, it is societal expectation. And when I may bring it home, at home, you want to make sure your kids are okay, they're doing well in school, mortgage is paid, everything is done. Your wife is okay. You want to make sure everything is working well. It's like you are
on their shoulder.
You are the automatic manager of your immediate home. And for you to be able to perform in that environment comes the financial powerhouse that you need to be able to accomplish all that. So when it comes to men, right from day one, we wake up with fear. What if I lose my job? What if? What if? And unfortunately, when that happens, we don't have a plan B. And that drives our mental health down. But remember the background I gave you. We've been taught never to show weakness.
Yeah.
So we can't even show that weakness to our children or even our wives. Our closest trusted space, we cannot even show that. And back home, we have safe spaces like a brother, an uncle, grandpa, or a very good friend whom you can call and say, hey, let's go for some soup. And you'll be able to confide in him and say, man, things are not going well with me. And he will say, don't worry. Pat you on the shoulders and say, hey, come on, we got you. You'll be okay. When we travel and we come to Canada, we do not have that safety net. And there's a disconnect. Sometimes I'll call my friends back home. I will tell them, man, I'm struggling with this. They were like, you are so blessed to be in Canada and you are complaining. There's that disconnect.
That's the same thing my dad says when he calls his friend. And he's like, what are you complaining about?
What are you complaining about? You are so blessed to be in Canada. So we become alone. We become a silo unto ourselves. We build walls around ourselves to an extent that we even cannot see ourselves when we stand in the mirror. Sometimes you stand in the mirror in your bathroom and you don't know who you have become because you've bottled up so much. So mental health for men is a thing. It's real and it needs the right exposure, the right support. And I want to say a big thank you to Mandela House in our community for creating the first Black space for men where you can go and actually depressurize your brain and talk to people who might be experiencing the same thing. So I want to say a big thank you to Pastor Dia Dikube, who brought this initiative. It's now taking off, but I just want to invite you all to just visit that space and see what they're doing. It's culturally responsive, culturally appropriate. You're able to meet other men. We talk, laugh, and we put on our boy shoes. It's a space where you can put on your boy shoes. Only men will understand that. Right? When boys and boys meet, there's no mask anymore. We just put on our boy shoes and we become boys.
Well, just talking about that, I can see your face light up, So that shows how genuinely you appreciate the organization.
Absolutely.
Now, Dr. Charles, what else can community do right now?
Right now, community must recognize that the men are shouldering a lot. And I want to advocate for empathy for our men. Empathy. Meet our men from a place of empathy. There's a lot of, social media is driving a lot of narratives. And children, wives, families have certain rigid expectations of their men. And if they don't meet that, the first thing is criticism. Oh, you are lazy. Oh, you've changed. Oh, this is not the man I married. Don't you see what your fellow men are doing? Instead of looking at it from a point of empathy, that this man might actually be struggling. And women who pay attention to their men, sisters who pay attention to their brothers, actually can see when their brothers are changing. And they will be the safety net for them. Most of the time, men, we are very stubborn. When you try to poke us to get to us, we put down that barrier. Please don't let those barriers scare you. Community must probe deeper because they want somebody to talk to. They want somebody to hear them out. Because how we process things, what we deal with, it's so buried deep within us that if you're not very close, you will never know.
Thank you so much for sharing that. I was taking notes because I recently got married and sometimes living with a man 24/7, I have to learn certain things that, maybe he needs to talk about certain things.
Absolutely.
We women have a lot of support group.
Yes.
I do not know how many support groups actually men have.
It's very limited.
So when I was even looking at your work, I was like, oh, I didn't even know this existed.
Correct.
So moving to my next question is, Movember has become more than just growing mustache.
Correct.
It's about sparkling, those type of conversations around men's health and breaking long held stigmas that you were talking about. In your opinion, how can campaigns like Movember truly shift cultural attitudes and make lasting change in how we approach men's well-being?
First and foremost, I think that this idea of Movember is really good. It gets the conversation going. From this comes a lot of innovation. From innovation comes action. I'm a scientist, and I do believe in piloting ideas. And this is a brilliant idea that we should keep piloting and pushing for men to feel comfortable to share their stories. We need men to talk more. We need men to open up more so that others who are going through the same thing will realize that they are not alone. Depression is real. Mm-hmm. And there is support for depression. There's medication, there's counseling, there's therapy. There's nothing wrong with it. It doesn't show you're a weak man. No, actually, it's going to make you better for yourself and for your family. So when that education comes through the right cultural lens, men will begin to embrace these ideas. It's very easy for women to adjust to new environments. Men, if you're not lucky, we will remain like that until we die.
You are so correct.
Because
I agree with you.
That is how we have been wired. When you wire a man in a certain way, it's very difficult to change him.
Yeah.
So we have to look at our men, our culture, our expectations, and then build systems that will support them, led by men. One thing I need to caution all those who are trying to do things for men is do not think you know how to solve men's problems. Never. Allow men to come up to solve their own problems. That is a space where you can see men will thrive. That is a space where men will say, based on this one or two things in our culture, let's do it this way. Mm-hmm. And that is how I can bring more men in our culture to come and talk. It will interest you to know that it doesn't take a lot to get a man to talk. A fellow man meets another fellow man. It could just be at a Tim Hortons, and we'll begin to share. But we always want to feel safe. If it is safe, we will open up in a place where there's no judgment. So I'm bringing it down to where community can meet men. Community should not design solutions for men. They should invite men to come and design solutions for men.
For themselves. Yeah. Okay. Well, thank you so much for sharing that. I do see sometimes even myself taking initiative to, the men in my life is my father and my husband.
Correct.
My dad was in army. He was a commando, strong man.
Yeah.
You cannot cry.
Yeah.
And my husband is also in construction. And, men are tough.
Yeah.
But I sometimes feel like, oh my God, is there a way where they can talk about their problems or the sadness or the happiness or just their childish self,
Correct.
And it's very nice that you gave us some of the names of the organization. I would like to know more about that. And my next question is kind of around that is, what are some of the most pressing challenges Black and African communities in Calgary are facing today, and where could they go to ask for help?
Okay, thank you very much. I'm going to break this into maybe three parts, and I will start from those who are coming from war-torn areas. So already they have a PTSD related to the experiences due to war. The government of Canada opens up, allows them to Canada, brings them in, and right after they arrive at Calgary Airport, they said, goodbye, all the best. These men are traumatized. They need trauma-informed therapy. They need the right level of interventions, culturally sensitive, culturally planned interventions as soon as they come in here to help them heal before we expose them to work. Trust me, men are not lazy.
Yeah.
Give them the opportunity, they will thrive. But when you are mentally done,
torn apart,
you're torn apart.
How do you expect them to join the labor market?
Exactly. And you see them moving from job to job to job to job. And when the frustration mounts up, guess what? You see domestic violence increases. You see children being beaten up. The consequences are so dire. But most of the time, we treat only the symptoms. We don't get to the root causes. So the first thing is we should pay attention to where people are coming from. We shouldn't bury that. We should be institutions, companies, even when they hire people, they should pay attention to where these people are coming from.
Absolutely.
And get them tailored help. Because what I do believe is that if a company is really want to retain staff for the long term, sometimes investing in people's well-being will go a long way. So that's the first thing. Where are they coming from? People come from war-torn zones. So they are traumatized. They need help. There is also those who are coming from displacements in other areas, not war per se, but political displacements. So they've left everything that they're used to and they have moved here. They have high expectations. There are those who came here for school, for education, and after education, they decide to stay. That's another category. There are those who the Canadian government also convinced that you're a medical doctor, highly skilled. We need you.
That's how we came.
We need you. Come to Canada. It's the land of everything. And you come in and they tell you, sorry.
You cannot use your credentials.
You cannot use your credentials. So you throw a high IQ, high performing, high functioning individual down the ladder. And you ruin their mental health right away. So the immigration system of Canada is one of the biggest factors we need to consider if we're looking at supporting men's mental health. It brutalizes men. Women are very resilient and very adaptable. So most women are able to weave through it very quickly than men. Most of the time, men don't. If you take a sample of most Uber drivers and most taxi drivers, you will be shocked.
I know. I take Uber every day.
Doctors,
the engineers, nurses, lawyers, everything.
Where did they come from? They came from their home country because Canada made a promise to them. And Canada failed them.
I agree with you 100%. You know, my dad had to start everything from scratch thanks to the non-for-profit organization who showed him where he could go. He, in his late 50s, he went back to school and became an engineer. You know, men are not lazy, but you know, when you bring a United Nations employee to Canada and his first job is a security guard in -30. I remember my dad came home and cried. Not in front of us. But behind us. And I will never forget that day. So where can they go? Now
we need to create spaces. There's no space. Now there's zero space. There's no safe space for men in Canada. I don't know of a place where you can go as a man and say, hey, walk in, grab a cup of coffee, and let's talk to somebody. I don't know a single place, apart from Mandela House, that has just opened. We need more spaces for men. Every community, whether in the Punjabi community, in the Ghana community, in the Cameroonian community, government must invest in these spaces where men can just walk in.
Absolutely. I agree with you. Thank you so much, Dr. Charles, for sharing that. I do want to ask you one quick question about, you know, the future generation, the youth of the community. So from your experience, what role should education institutions play, people like us, in advancing equity and inclusion?
Thank you very much. This is very important. You know, second generation kids are being raised by first generation Canadians. So they give them a dose of what they know from home. And then the Canadian system also gives them the dose of what Canada is supposed to be like. So these children are very special. They are living in both worlds. They're living in their parents' world and they're living in a new world. And they're trying to navigate both. So what we need to do is to have institutions that are culturally responsive, who understand where these kids are coming from, to be able to address issues. Trust me, if we are able to build institutions that that will intersect between grade 6 and high school, we will save a lot of generation of kids from a lot of the things they are dealing with. Because, as I said, I can only train my children based on my understanding.
Yep.
And I don't understand Canada.
Yep.
So guess what I'm giving to my kid? Nothing. I'm not helping him to become, molding him to become somebody useful to this society. I will train him based on what I know. So when they go out, they learn what they are not being taught at home. And most of the time they learn the wrong things. And then they bring that home, then becomes a conflict.
Yeah.
And before you realize, the kids will leave home. So educational institutions must set up culturally, even if it is training programs. For example, you want to become a nurse, you're first generation. The education institution can set up these training programs that you can attend.
That's more culturally
appropriate.
Yeah.
Come and learn about who you are. Learn about where your parents came from. Learn about this. Learn about why your dad is always like this and not like the Canadian dad that your friends tell you about.
Yes.
So that the kids will not think that we are the worst humans on earth, and that there's a model father that should have been.
Yes.
You know, as growing up, you get up and you go to school. Your dad comes in, you need homework, your dad will help you. Like, dads back home are very different from here. Here, dad has to come and read a story to you before you sleep. We are not used to that. No. Yes. When you play until you feel tired and you fall asleep. You know, it's different.
Yeah.
But that disconnect, educational institutions can help bridge that gap by ensuring that these kids will also learn about who their parents are. Where are you coming from? We have this cultural program, 2-hour cultural intensive program you need to attend. It will learn, oh, this is why mom does this. This is why does that. So they can meet them halfway, because the kids don't know.
Absolutely.
And that is creating a lot of friction in homes, leading to a lot of dropout kids, a lot of drug addiction, a lot of mental health issues among this youth. And all these things I've mentioned will prevent them from achieving their goals.
Thank you so much, Dr. Charles, for being so genuine and passionate about answering all these questions without hesitation.
Yes.
Now, I do want to let the audience know about, you have done a tremendous work about monitoring air quality, and also you have gained international recognition for that.
Yes.
What motivated that focus, and how does it connect with your community advocacy? Like, you're a scientist, and how you are in the community, inspiring men.
Thank you very much. As a scientist, I do believe that whatever everyone else has done, we should be able to do the same thing. And our education from back home is very valuable. And when you bring what you are taught back home and you try to apply it in a different context with a different environment, you learn a lot. So I am a chemist and did instrument development at the University of Calgary, did my PhD. And I started learning more about molecules, about pollution, and how do we detect them in real time. I was very fascinated about them. So I'm like, okay, this is what nature does. And nature has an interesting way of dealing with pollutions. When humans pollute the air, nature has a way of cleaning it up. So I started paying attention to some of these processes. And one of them, I realized that scientists before me, they've made attempts to solve it by mimicking the behavior of the sun in the lab to break down one of the toxic molecules called nitrogen dioxide. But they did that successfully, but they were able to only use it to detect instruments with a limited range, and then it becomes nonlinear. So I'm like, why were they not able to
do the same,
to extend it? So okay, so I'm like, you know what, I'm gonna venture into this. I do believe that we should solve this problem. So I ventured into it, and lo and behold, with the invention of LEDs, those times they didn't have LEDs. Now we have LEDs.
Yes.
So I'm like, you know what? I can actually get these LEDs to work and design the system. And through serendipity, luck,
I love that word.
yes, a little bit of luck and a little bit of
beautiful accident.
beautiful accidents, a little bit of let me try.
Yeah.
Just trying, discovered a new way of doing this that has never been able to be done in the past 40 years.
Wow.
So we filed for a patent for it, and the patent was granted. And that became a big news. And people celebrated it because it's a groundbreaking work in our field of air quality monitoring. And on top of that, I went further. The work that I did during my PhD as well, usually it's been difficult to commercialize it, move it into the field. In the lab, it works great, but moving it into the field. So with myself and a team of engineers at Direct Optics, that's the company I work with, we've been able to move this beautiful innovation from lab to field.
That's
and
amazing.
as I talk to you now, we have another patent that approved. I have about 2 more patents that are approved.
That's
and
amazing.
this instrument, we've subjected it to the most rigorous testing any instrument must meet in order to be used in the USA. And we are waiting for good news that it will, and when it is done, when it is approved, it will be the first cavity ring down instrument ever to be approved in the world with a federal equivalency method.
Oh my God, I cannot wait for that day.
Yes, and
to hear the good news.
And that was designed and built in Calgary.
That's amazing to know. I cannot believe it.
And there's an immigrant in that story. And I need to say that there's an immigrant in that story. That is the beauty of Canada. So when people are starting this anti-immigrant sentiments, please tell them there's beauty in the ingenuity of the human mind. And the human mind knows no limit as to where it was born or raised. But when we allow everybody to thrive and we come together in this beautiful land of Canada, we will do magical things for Mother Earth.
Absolutely. I believe in you and I believe in all of us. Thank you so much for sharing that. And I am very excited to see your work. My MBA was in global energy and sustainable development from University of Calgary.
Wonderful.
We do talk about in Alberta about air pollution from the oil rigs and stuff. So it will definitely help our environment and our mental health.
Absolutely.
Now to my next question, I would like to ask you that you've worn many hats over the past years. What has been your most rewarding lesson or experience so far, besides these big patterns? And
I got a message from a friend of mine.
Okay.
I will not mention his name. And this was the message. He said, "Hey Charles, how are you doing? My son has gotten a 4-year scholarship to read chemistry in the United States just because of you."
Oh, that's so sweet. The next generation is already following you.
That has been the best thing ever to happen.
Beautiful.
To hear that a young kid heard a CTV interview of me when the patents were granted, and he followed through that one day I want to become like him.
Oh,
and he's in the US right over the full 4-year scholarship. He wants to become a chemist. And I can't wait to see what he becomes in the future.
Oh, that's so sweet.
We need to leave examples for our children.
Absolutely.
And that is why science and community work are my biggest thing. You can't live in your corner and do things and you are known only in the scientific world. No, we need to be known in our communities as well.
Absolutely.
So I am calling on all our professionals to please immerse themselves in their communities, because you will become a catalyst for somebody, not your family member, somebody you don't even know, to become greater than yourself one day.
I can see that happening already through you and all the great work you are doing. Now, this brings to one of the last questions. You have already talked about how we can make allyship between individuals, youth, the seniors, different communities. You have done a tremendous work, not only in the scientific world, but the community world too. What advice would you give to someone, especially a newcomer or a young professional who wants to make a difference in their community? Tell me one advice.
No matter how brilliant you are, you can't go alone. No matter how brilliant you are, no matter how wealthy you are, you cannot go alone. You need friends. You need allies. You need people who can hold your hands. You need people who can direct you on the right path. For the young ones who are coming, they should be ready to learn. They should be teachable. They should be humble. They should be very respectful to those ahead of them. It is through this that the older generation will wholeheartedly bless them with their knowledge. And when you have that knowledge, you build on it. So I will ask them to continue pushing. Knock on doors. You don't have to know somebody for the person to become your friend. Always go, sir, I heard about you. I want to talk to you. Can you advise me? Look for mentors. Seek them. Be mentored. And in the future, you become unstoppable.
That's amazing to know. Now, this brings to my very favorite and last question. This podcast is named Legacy Podcast. Now, my question to you would be, Dr. Charles, what legacy do you want to leave behind?
We want to leave this place better than we met it, so that our children will walk, not looking over their shoulders on who is following them. Our children will apply for jobs, not worrying that their last names might be the reason why they will never get an interview. Mm-hmm. So that our children will thrive in this land. So that what we are facing today will be a thing of the past. So that this community will be more open to everybody. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Charles. This podcast just fills my heart with joy to see people like you leading our generation.
Yes.
Thank you very much for your time, Dr. Charles. And we will continue our conversation maybe on future episodes or just beyond the camera. Okay.
Wonderful.
Thank you so much.
When I get a publication from the U.S. government, if it's positive, I'll let you know. So that we talk about it.
Absolutely. And we will celebrate that.
Wonderful.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Well, our listeners and viewers out there on the other side of the screen, I just wanted to tell you that thank you so much for being with us and getting to know so much about men's health from our very own Dr. Charles. I want to encourage you and request you that go out there, seek for help if you need. Even if you think that everything is all right, there is, no harm to just reach out to speak with your brother or your father or your friend. And for the women out there, definitely let your man talk or just listen to them if they have something to say. Well, I will be back with another episode with you guys, with another empowering person. Till then, I would love you to send us any comments, or if you like our podcast, like the podcast, subscribe on our channel, or even send us an email if you want to reach out to Dr. Charles. He is available on LinkedIn, and that's how I found about his amazing work and found out him. So feel free to reach out to him. And till then, MCG stands for Making Communities Great. So feel free to do something positive and make your community great. Thank you so much. Have a wonderful day. MCG, Making Communities Great.